Jerome Lambert.
How are you?
I'm absolutely marvelous. How does it feel to be back? You are back.
Thank you. It's an amazing impression, particularly a day like today, where you see spring coming to the Valley Jew, and indeed many things are a little bit sounding like how it was a few years ago, but many new things to discover. So, like you today, discovering a lot of new things.
They're all inside. We're going to get the watches in hand as soon as possible. You got something to show me?
Yeah, please.
So, have you ever thought about renting this as an Airbnb?
No. We will have two problems. So the first thing is there is no bedroom here. So for Airbnb, you would have to sleep somewhere on a couch. And then you can imagine that when it comes to that location, for security measures, it will be quite demanding.
You just need
so you will not be feeling alone.
You need to buy a couple of Garo tourbillons, and I think you could negotiate.
Exactly. Or we organize something very special, yeah.
Speaking of special things, Jerome, I have something to tell you about a connection between you and I. You look nervous. It's not romantic.
No.
You were, in fact, in 2013, my first CEO interview. At that time, what brand were you at?
In 2013, before July, no question mark, Jaeger-LeCoultre.
So this is a full circle moment, and it does lead me to a burning question.
Yeah.
Why are you back? You rose to the very top, COO for several years, CEO for 5 years of the Richemont Group, and now back full circle to Jaeger. This is the question people want to know.
Well, you know, if you just have in front of the eyes what we right now have in front of our eyes, either this amazing creation or that view on the full valley, then you have two strong elements that take you somewhere back to the aspiration of creativity, true things, direct contact, and direct impact. My time in corporate world has been fantastic. The 7 years with COVID in the middle have been very, very active, you can imagine. But after 7 years, I was aspiring to be with a team in a manufacturer, with our creators, our watchmakers, and to see something which is very rare. It is how an idea, a dream, come true and transform itself into an object that will start its life with all our clients. Mm-hmm. And this element between pure creativity, excellence in the realization, and the connection with our clients, and I'm just back from a tour in Middle East, which gives the whole purpose of it, is something that is very strong and very aspirational. So after my duty done with corporate, I was very happy to be back to that. I was CEO with the age of 33.
You were a wunderkind, they called
you. So it was already...
Imagine CEO at 33 of Jaeger.
Yeah, the good thing is you are really standing on shoulder of giants. Mm-hmm. So you are not 33, you are 33 and more than 180 or 70 years of century of experience, of things that have been created here. You know that we call it Antoine Lecoultre, that salon, but everything started a few blocks from here, which is, not 3 blocks, a few buildings from here, which is 50 years of history, and that's the building of Antoine where everything started. So naturally, you are just a new extension of what existed before.
Mm-hmm. You at 33?
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask your age now, but how...
You can say 55, there is something, at least until August 55, yes.
22 years later, how are you different? How is the 2025 Jerome different to the 2013?
Oh, I want to say that I hope as all the human being, you change. The biggest change in my life between the two is I turned to become a father. So, which is a big difference in life. You know what I mean? I don't have 3 daughters. I have 2 daughters. So, but we had the privilege to be the parents of 2 daughters. So it's a big change in life.
Yeah. Now, is there a big change at Jaeger this year? What are the? Let's do a quick. I want you to choose where we start, but we have 4 of the key watches in front of us.
Yeah.
What's different? what's exciting you about this collection? Let's get into the watches because people can't wait.
Thank you. What is very interesting, it is how far an extraordinary watch like the Reverso, that was born extraordinary from his inventiveness, again, protecting against the shock for sport, a true expression aesthetic that is still the one that you see today, the incredible movement inside shape adapted to the aesthetic from day one. How that extraordinary watch that was born extraordinary became an icon, and that transformation years by years, decade by decade, in an icon. And you say that at the end of the day, you become an icon if you are still here and if you're still relevant. And then here you tell a little bit with the Reverso Duo Face. It's a continuity of a story that we call the story of the modernity. Mm-hmm. That watch was created in 1994, and in 1994, the story of modernity is having 2 time zones. In between, the watch evolved, but you can see that it's never stopped in terms of invention of Jaeger. Imagine that, and then after the generation of triptych, we have been taking new dimension of the watch. Not only we've been using front face, reverse face, but we are using as well new dimensions such as the side of the watch. And here you have this incredible trigger which is make the adjustment for the time zone. So if I'm here and I decide to change the time zone, I will just by using that small element, just change the time zone. And it's completely integrated in the case.
You've landed on your business class flight in New York, you come from London, it's just a flip of the case, flick, flick, flick.
And then the beauty and the purity of the case remain intact. Mm-hmm. Originally, it was a pusher with a tool, and you needed a tool. Then we solved it with a pusher to be more functional, but we lost the aesthetic. And this one is a perfect fusion with these two. It has the aesthetic of the very start, so you don't see anything, the case is intact. But functionally, as we have been starting from the triptych to use the 3 dimension, and here the side of the watch to have that function integrated, you have the purity and the functionality together. And that's what I like at Jaeger. That quest for, how we say, improving, inventing. And you know, at the end, Maison stand for watchmakers. But if we want to give content, it is watchmaking creativity that single us out. Watchmaking, you see it here. There is 180 craftsmanship in that Maison. We are roughly 1,000 in our manufacture. We are where we started in 192 years ago. And creativity, because in between 1,400 calibers after, 430 patents, 20 still in record. It's about bringing creation to that word of excellence and of watchmaking that makes and single out.
Speaking of what's different about this duo face, this seems to me like you're making the white face work a little bit harder than it used to, because it feels like the default face is the black face. This is a boutique edition, by the way. So you have this beautiful sunray black dial that I think is going to be your default position. But tell me about some of the changes to the white dial face, because we have double battens, we have this recessed dial. This is a dial it's trying to get some airtime.
Yeah, it's very interesting what you say. Indeed, the tribute has a very strong style signature, and we wanted in a year like this year dedicated to the origin of the Reverso to come as close as possible to the very original dial of the Reverso. You know that the American has an expression when it comes to duetto or duo face. They love to speak from subway. Mm-hmm. For the working face of it, the day life work, and Broadway for the second part.
From Subway to Broadway.
Voilà, and here it's from Broadway to Subway because one day you have to go home as well, so you can take a car or Uber in this case. So the geographic.
This is your favorite. You've just gone straight to your favorite.
No, the geographic is something very particular and quite amazing. Because again, it's something that I like about Jaeger-LeCoultre. Jaeger invented the use of 2 face to display functionality, which is indeed one of the paradigm of watches. Paradigm of watches is how you make readable, understandable functionalities on something that is from 25 to 40 millimeters large, but that's all. So to play it well, then you need some interesting idea. And what Jaeger-LeCoultre brought was Reverso with the complication on two faces. So it's the 90s, and that's the first 60 years anniversary of the complication. Here, we do it with two additional dimensions. So the first one is that we use as well the famous trigger, secret trigger on the side. The secret trigger on the side brings the same functionality. I can adjust here, not the second time zone, but the whole work time, just by using it. So the same beautiful integration. The second element is that why not using as well the case, while also having the function? It is not, I have a face, that's a function, basta. Or I have a case and it protects and I engrave and do it next. No. It's, again, why not doing it together in the same time? And that's what this watch has been capable to do. So you have the work time, which is inside the watch, as you see here, with this ring that is turning. And you have the beautiful representation of hers with this amazing lac and the engraving of the case. So here you don't have to choose. We have put the two together. If you remember the lacquer watches of Jaeger-LeCoultre in the 30s, you have amazing lac at that time, very deep, very strong. And now what the colleagues have been capable to do in the manufacturers is the same way here. 141 holes that you full one after the other, so that you finish by that dark and very resistant lac and strong look on your wrist. And as you need a 24 hours, you need a day and night, or you can solve it with a date. As you are at Jaeger-LeCoultre, it's a grand date. It's a quite interesting new grand date, the one that we used already with the 90th in 21, patented by Jaeger-LeCoultre. There's a characteristic of using two discs.
Yes.
Two discs
on the same plane.
And the same plane give you the opportunity of having a watch quite slim. Yeah. The geographic is below 13 millimeter high. Yeah. And that case, the movement itself is a 1 digit in millimeter. And on top of that, you can have the 0, the 1, the 2, and the 3 when it comes to the watch itself.
What's catching the attention is this gold.
Voilà. Exactly.
Monoface.
The Milanese.
Gold as a monotone can be really profound if there's a lot of effort put into textures, finishing, and this achieves that at a price that I think is quite surprising, because we'll get to pricing a bit later, but the price of this watch is €37,000 for a full gold watch with a full gold Milanese bracelet. That's music to a lot of people's ears, but tell us about this decision to do something very simple, just create a gold Reverso monoface, but it just shows so many attributes of Jaeger in the way it's brought together.
And you speak, thank you for all these very nice comments. And
I kind of love it, to be honest. I just spent time in Thailand with 2 other journalists, and we looked at the pictures and we were just like, this is the thing that we've been wanting from Jaeger.
Right, thank you. And again, at Jaeger, it starts by some very interesting willingness to deal with problematic and challenge. And again, the Reverso is a slim watch in many aspects. And we wanted for that slim watch to conceive a bracelet that is in somehow coming on your wrist like a second skin, because as the watch is thin, then we wanted to have it very...
Because this looks bloody great on you. Yeah.
So, and then here what we wanted to really highlight is how can we find a bracelet that is coming very, as I said, as a second skin, very flat on your wrist, and is benefiting from the fact that the watch is slim. Because if you're a bracelet that is large, or even a leather strap that will be slightly higher, will not have the benefit of having a very slim watch.
You lose the effect of the case.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we said, to make it slimmer, then we go and explore a bracelet that is capable. So the guy looked and said, at the end, the more naturally shaped bracelet on your wrist when you want to have something second skin is the Milanese. I say, okay, Milanese. And then the problematic was that our teams has been willing to find a Milanese with a shoot. Of course, that's a gold one. So we had to conceive the buckle that is done for that. It's 100 threads coming one next to the other. And altogether, that's 16 meters of gold, thin line, huh? But still a thread of 16 meters that is coming all together. And the beauty, but you have it afterwards, of course, we wanted to play with the texture, and we wanted to have something where we have between the shiny polish part and with the depth, we wanted to play a lot with the that impression of contrast.
Yeah. So we have a grained dial, which provides a little bit of a matte texture, and then these high polished indexes and hands. And then you've got, of course, the gadroons, but also the lug hoods are super polished. And then you have this really, I think, quite subtle shine to the Milanese. And look at the wear difference between the leather strap and the Milanese strap. It just immediately hugs the wrist. And because it cambers down following the contour of the lugs, it's a masterpiece. So this is really an exciting watch. And it's funny how sometimes the excitement can come from a very simple execution.
You're completely right. And then somehow the Reverso was born for form following functionality. And then it's what we do with the bracelet again, where we are thinking how we think a functionality, which is how can we make that very slim case coming very nicely and very naturally on your wrist. And then we say, okay, then the bracelet is a good one. Which bracelet? And then when you start to have the metal, you see that you can have contrast between the metal and the case, and then you say to yourself, secondly, then what do we do with the dial? And then we play with the dial. We never had in the Reverso with that texture of the dial itself, with the grenet and the index polish.
So you've got a lot of real estate here, and I'm going to ask you a question. If you were to put your best marathon time on here and your targeted best marathon time, what two numbers am I putting?
Alors, you know that it's a very excellent question.
Running obsessive.
No. It's a very good question because when long time ago, let's say 15 years ago, I was asked, what will you engrave or 20 years ago, what will you engrave on the watch? And I said, I will engrave the marathons that I'm running. I was at the start of marathon. I was starting my marathon time. So my marathon run. So the first one was in Berlin. So in 2010, on the watch, I have Berlin 2010. Then from there, I moved to Amsterdam.
You didn't put the time.
No, because I had the good conviction that I had to put the date and not the time. Because with time, you want to see your time evolving, etc. Now I've done 16 of them.
Yeah.
So my best time is 3:39. So I would put 3:39. The one I did 2 weeks ago, slightly more, it was 3:50. But the good thing is you can still improve and develop. So
and your
still
target,
a few things.
What's your dream time?
Well, first it was to go below 3:40 something to be capable to see, I have a 3 something. And my best time was in Hamburg in 2014 before. And then I could never beat my time. It was 3:41. And then last year I trained a little bit differently. I changed my training a bit. And then suddenly I moved through 3:39. So now naturally the aspiration is to go to 3:2 something. Yeah. So 3:29. And then my age will probably make me moving even more in running in the mountains, where here you have beautiful landscape to practice it.
Look what I wrote in my book. What do you get out of running? Because I know that I need this daily exercise in my life, and I can answer this in 100 hours or one second, but what is it that you get out of running?
Me, connection. Connection with my body, connection with the outside world, connection.
Great
connection
answer.
Even with the family, because we are all running marathon or half marathon. So in 2 weeks, my wife and our 2 daughters are running half marathon in Madrid. I cannot, I'm in Watches and Wonders, but we were running the marathon with my wife 2 weeks ago. And then, so no, it's connection. In this case, it's connected hobby for family. And here, when you do a trail in the Valley Jew, if you want to feel the landscape, to understand what it is about, you run here. And when you are in a city, a new place, and then if you live in a city, or if you travel in a city like we travel most of the time, air conditioned in a plane, air conditioned car, restaurant air conditioning, etc., you never get really the sound, the air. You go outside at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning in London or wherever else, or in Sydney, where it's even, I would say, great when you run on the base side, it's something you cannot replace. To connect.
When you talk about Jaeger-LeCoultre, there's a sparkle in the eye. When you were CEO, you couldn't play favorites, but can you answer me now? What is your favorite watch brand in the world?
I can say very much Jaeger-LeCoultre. And at that time, I was not knowing why, and now I know why.
Okay.
So, no, basically when you do something as your first experience in the position of CEO, if you're not passionate by that, then something is strange. I guess everybody has it in his mind. Afterwards, through looking after longer, Montblanc and Richemont Maisons, I had a lot of others. I love all of them for different aspects as well. They are a great maison. And the life or the experience at Glashütte was very interesting. The one in Hamburg with Montblanc was also very interesting. Here it's coming back to your dream job, first job where you had this very first impression and where you had professionally all your emotion of a first time. So if any of us, we project ourselves into what does it mean emotion of a first time, you want to do that. And the Maison on top of that, they change tremendously. You have talents that are amazing. And I'm the first to say wow when I see what they propose. And this morning we are reviewing the prototype. That was the last review of the watches before they go to the Watch and Wonders collection and review. And many of them you stop and you say, wow. And you say, oh, I never thought that, etc., etc. So no, it's an amazing emotion.
And if I can be so bold and take the wheel for a moment here, we have a jumping date on the front, and then that mechanism is used for a jumping hour on the back. It's called a semi-jumping hour because the minutes drag, and the hour, to save power and actually give some power reserve, it drags a little and then jumps.
It's where, again, it makes sense to have 180 craftsmanships under one roof. Mm-hmm. It is that the work that they are doing together and the quest that they share together to bring additional solutions that were not existing before and to challenge themselves on the height of a watch, on the quality of a sound, on the jumping hours, the summit jumping so that we save the power reserve, but nevertheless we have the jump. At the end of the day, these clients that are buying these extraordinary watches have so high expectation from the mechanism, we have to offer them in the comfort of the watch the same sense of the ultimate detail.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been if you can believe it, a very quick flyover of 2025's new collection and a very welcome back to Jérôme Lambert.
Merci.
Thanks for watching. I can't wait to see the reaction to these watches, and I can't wait to see this on my wrist at some point. This is a beautiful watch.
Merci.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup.